Summer 1975, birth of what has become a legend before it even comes of age. The Hunter Region Westpac Lifesaver Rescue Helicopter Service. They were humble days, a Bell 47 the mount, surf rescue and coastal observation the mission. 1978 saw the ride get smoother, patient care and rescue capabilities improved. It was the introduction of the Bell Jet Ranger. The Rescue Helicopter Service has volunteers to thank for its foundations, crew members to supporters and fundraisers. Sponsors are also a foundation stone of the service. With their backing, 1981 saw the rescue helicopter chalk up a new milestone, 24-hour-a-day, year-round operations. The 80s also saw the District Park base they call home today become a reality. Their first helicopter purchase, a Bell Long Ranger, representing another step forward. And the job, like the organisation, was changing. The Hunter Region Rescue Helicopter Service was pioneering a civil emergency response, which saw them being watched by emergency services nationally. Primary accident response, ambulance paramedics, pilot and crew and the aircraft, forming a unique team which provided a lifesaver, retrieving badly injured patients from serious accidents to desperately needed medical help.
He was flown by Westpac Rescue Helicopter to the Royal Newcastle Hospital.
Charlie from Chopper 1, we're going into your west 9 o'clock. Looks like we might have spotted the survivor.
1991, a new aircraft, the Aerospatiale Dauphine. Thanks to community support from the people of the Hunter, this is the story of Angel 1.
Well, we've set the operation up to handle as many contingencies as possible. It's quite amazing and in fact quite gratifying to see how well the whole thing just links together when a job goes down, whether it's the paramedics coming rapidly through the front gate with the lights flashing on their vehicle, the aircraft's out, the medical packs are on board, the paras are in their gear, the engine cranks and the aeroplane is off onto its task.
You have a 2-year-old female patient, been hit by a car, knocked approximately 20 feet. The patient is unconscious, LOC between 2 and 1. The patient at this stage has...
Lifesaver 3, we departed base for a serious motor vehicle accident on the Cyril Rocks Road.
2 patients going to John Hunter will be there in approximately 20 minutes. Patient 1, 56-year-old male with multiple lacerations.
There's obviously a bit of a problem there, so we're heading out to that.
Take away.
Okay, you clear to go up, Ted?
Okay, all up.
We're just anxious to get back now and get on with treating it.
Okay, we should not be clear of the
We certainly value the helicopter service and the chance to fly him back really quickly.
Just bring him in, bud.
US Sky and Dry. Stand by for position. Door. Second paramedic on the skids. And 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold. Fourth paramedic coming in. Hold point road, hold. You got a thumbs up. Bring the cable in. To the left only 3, 2, 1, hold. Don't move any further left. Patient for the John Hunter, we're estimating the John Hunter
All of us are merely a cog in a chain, and if any of those links within that chain are broken within that hour, then the patient loses his life very distinctly. Whether that be the ambulance officer working out at the scene prior to us getting there, the work that we do when we arrive, the crewmen in setting up the aircraft together with the pilot, positioning the aircraft to receive the patient in a more advantageous spot, and then quickly getting this person to hospital. And lastly, we shouldn't forget the surgeons and the anaesthetists that ultimately deliver that definitive care and save the patient's life.
Okay, go and come and get straight up. This is good. Hold on, maintain it tight. Hold on, we're thinking nicely. Sitting here very nicely still. Just coming up below the aircraft. Something below the skid. Just let you swing around a little bit. Okay, going coming up to the door.
Thank God they're there, because if they weren't, he wouldn't be here now.
When they've had the donations a number of months back, I and the wife, we donated $10 and I never thought anything more of it, but I sort of sit back now and I feel that there's a lot of families there that owe the lives of a member of their family to the helicopter. If it wasn't for them, there's a large number of people that just wouldn't be here. It's a necessity that we must have and we must maintain.
This has saved our son's life. It's a good service here, and with this distance, he wouldn't have been alive today.
Helicopter service is expensive. It has specialised equipment, specialised crew, and it is worth it, no matter whether it's a young child, an old person, able, disabled. It is an important service for all people.
Rescue portable lifesaver 3. Rescue 72, lifesaver 3. Rescue 72, we're currently off Newcastle Beach. Just confirm where you'd like it to start.
February 1993, the blackest day in the history of the service. A routine search and rescue mission for an injured bushwalker west of Dungog, just before sunset near Barrington Guest House. The Angel 1 Dream was brought crashing to the ground. Crew and ambulance paramedics luckily escaping injury. Spirits down, they definitely weren't out. A replacement Bell 212, which had been operating in Western Australia, kept Westpac 3 airborne. 1993 won't go down as a year of disaster for the Hunter Region Lifesaver Rescue Helicopter Service. It will, however, be remembered for the triumph they've been able to achieve. It took a worldwide search, major conversions in Brisbane, but now it's here to return the level of service Newcastle, the Hunter and Northern New South Wales has become accustomed to. September 1993, marking the arrival of Angel 2. The Bell 412 SP is a twin-engine aircraft capable of cruising at 240 kilometres an hour. Flying endurance 3.5 hours with a journey range of 800 kilometres. Its features include a 3-man rescue hoist, autopilot, capability to carry 5 stretcher patients, sophisticated medical monitoring equipment, navigation systems, a 3-man hoist with 90-metre cable and radio beacon homing device. The aircraft is arguably the most capable and best equipped civilian emergency response helicopter in Australia and one of the best in the world. Taking the Hunter Region Westpac Lifesaver Rescue Helicopter Service into the future, Angel 2.
The first surprise of the day was the surf. After yesterday's slop, a consistent 1 metre swell rolled in. Newcastle's Mark Hancock took full advantage of it to show why he was rated as early favourite. Chris Jubb tried to match it in the semi, but found a floater doesn't always work on a longboard. The high standard of competition forcing some guys to take risks to boost their point score. The old Mal class also attracted plenty of interest, not because of the surfer's age, but his board to qualify had to be made before 1966. Powerboat racing is one of sport's great deceptions. You can look to be the biggest and the fastest, but when it comes down to it, if you don't have the speed, you don't stand a chance. Racers from Queensland to Victoria have travelled to Raymond Terrace to compete for 2 days on the Williams River, but not everyone is out there to win a title. Dennis Howes is using the event to get the feel of his new Formula racer. And Sydney's Stephen Richards doesn't mind the bone-jarring ride in his 24-year-old wooden boat. He can't go as fast as the others, but is pretty handy when it comes to the handicap events. Racing continues on the river tomorrow morning from 11 o'clock.
The cars dating from 1911 to 1968 rolled along Torres back streets in preparation for the rally. Drivers from as far afield as Sydney and Queensland made the trip to the Manning to show off their pride and joy. The drivers congregated at Taree Rowing Club this morning on the banks of the Manning River, giving their cars the final spit and polish. Then it was off on a 100-kilometre rally in a roundabout trip that ended at Harrington this afternoon. Members from Hastings, Tamworth, Armidale and Coffs Harbour historic car clubs took part in the rally. Taree will host the Hub Rally in another 5 years after the other 4 participating motor clubs have their turn. Jason Neuenhoff, NBN News. A crowd of 1,000 turned up at Warhope's Timbertown for the event. The 2-day competition started today and spectators were treated to the Australian 325mm standing block final. Daryl Hayden of Lithgow won the national title ahead of Gary Adamson of Queensland and Larry Hoffman of Dorrigo. The State of Origin events will finish tomorrow, including butcher's block, underhand, standing block and double-handed soaring. A total prize pool of $10,000 is up for grabs, but there's more than money on the line. Axemen from both New South Wales and Queensland will be trying to prove which state has the best exponents of the sport. Jason Neuenhoff, NBN News. There will be a few sore cowboys tonight after competing in the long weekend rodeo. However, their top-class performances provided a treat for the 6,000 spectators at Kundabung Rodeo grounds. It was mainly due to the performances of the Brumbies and athletic Brahma Bulls, who appeared a little upset about working on the long weekend. 5 times Australian champ Greg Gibson from Scone was one of the few riders to stay on his mount for the required 10 seconds. His persistence won him the bareback bronc ride category. Jason Neuenhoff, NBN News.
Prawning on the Hunter River resumed this morning following an end to the annual winter closure. Harry Jenkins had a successful day working the waterway with a 130-kilogram catch. However, other fishermen discovered conditions hadn't changed much from last week's trial by state fisheries inspectors, which found quality prawns but no great quantity. Newcastle Fishermen's Cooperative received small amounts of prawns during the day and they've started selling for $14 a kilogram. The fishermen will return to the river tomorrow, hoping the season improves.
An enthusiastic young audience was thrilled with the day's entertainment. The sunshine brought out the crowds for a real holiday atmosphere. There was a chance to get all dolled up or bounce a few ideas around. The Air Force moved in, ready for a major manoeuvre. Tomorrow morning at 6:30, the RAF will turn on its traditional breakfast in the park. In previous years, up to 4,000 people have turned up for brekkie. Confusion for motorists today with Lehman Street next to Civic Park blocked off due to council work. A council spokesman said he didn't think it was silly to close the area during Matara, the busiest time of the year. Footpath repair work had to be done for a coming local government conference. Peter Ryan, NBN News.
Lake, and the community group has launched its management concept plan for the controversial Green Point, its conservation, recreation and tourism needs.
Obviously.
Scott Bevan, NBN News.
Students at Newcastle University are outlaying thousands of dollars each year for their education. They are now calling for a few guarantees.
A student who enters tertiary education is just thrown in the deep end. They don't know what's there, what they can do, what they can't do, what people can do to them.
The student union has set up a Bill of Rights. One of the main concerns is getting qualified teachers who are prepared to do their job.
People have been appointed on their qualifications on a piece of paper, and then when it comes down to teaching, they have no idea.
Also on the list, for students to be free from discrimination or harassment, to be consulted of any changes to their subjects, to be able to query their gradings. Not unlike a contract in buying a house or a contract for work, it sets out the rules which they want followed. The students say they've had a good response from the university. The draft will now go before the Academic Senate for approval, from there to the University Council, and students hope it will be in operation by early next year. Peter Ryan, NBN News.
It was the Reds' only trial games for New South Wales, and players travelled in from all over the state. Officials for the new team admit they weren't there just for a look and came prepared with a stack of contracts, a handful of cash and the offer of a job.
We don't want to come to a trial and offer all these boys chances and then say to them, well, we'll get back to you, and have them drift off to other clubs.
Two players to stand out early in the trial were 18-year-old Jason Edmonds from Torres and 19-year-old Nathan Ison from Charlestown.
You know, we didn't pretend there's going to be a great number here. A lot of the other clubs have had their trials and would have snapped up the better ones, but there's a lot of kids that get missed in the traps. And
at Newcastle University last night, a very flash-looking crowd turned up for the annual Knights Ball. Matthew Johns took out the club's Encouragement Award, teammate Mark Glanville won the Players' Player, and Damien Driscoll was given the Coaches' Award. Across town, another slap-up do, this time a 70th reunion dinner for Nobby Surf Club. Generations of lifesavers gathered to swap stories about rescues and plenty of tales about club larrikins. It's not exactly war games, but a chance to show how the hours of training pays off in accuracy. The main event today was the battle run. Competitors charge across the range, stopping at required intervals and firing off a set number of bullets. At stake is the Soldier's Pride and the Vietnam Veterans Trophy. And while the guys are charging downfield, it's like hellfire at the other end. The tri-service competition continues tomorrow morning. Al Green put away his former tools of trade this morning, ready for the long trip to Adelaide. Only weeks after publicly admitting he was 40 years old, he stunned everyone again by deciding to give the National League away and take up a job as a hotel manager. In the Falcons' last game, Al went on a scoring blitz and destroyed any doubts that he may have been past it.
I just want everybody to know that Al Green's not dead or over just because he retired. I still can play the game, and I know if I wanted to play another year, I could.
Besides his on-court antics, Al Green has always been a character off-court. And although he's dropped out of the NBL, he won't be reaching for the walking stick just yet.
I can't go cold turkey where you just quit playing completely. I'm still playing basketball in the local competition in Adelaide, so that should be really good for me.
And while basketball will play only a small part in his life from now on, he knows the last 3 years have had a major impact on his outlook.
The big thing I'll probably take with me is knowing that when I came here, it was a team that was in last place, and I helped them get to a 5th place rating in the NBL. And that's what I'll take with me, to know that I left basketball as a winner.
But it may not be the last time Al Green will live in Newcastle. He says if a coaching job does ever come up in town, he'll be the first one in with an application. Darren Curtis, NBN News.
This is where the gruesome discovery was made yesterday afternoon. Two men walking along a dirt road opposite Pelton Colliery found the badly decomposed body under 2 sheets of corrugated iron. Today, 35 police and SES volunteers searched the area, hoping to find clothing. But despite an extensive ground search and by air using the NBN helicopter, little was found. Tests will tire and footprints near the scene. A post-mortem examination was carried out during the day. Police say it's likely the body is that of 17-year-old Alison Newstead.
I'd say there's little doubt.
Alison disappeared last Wednesday. She was seen early that evening at the Carousel Cafe in Vincent Street. Today, police set up a caravan which they hope will encourage people to come forward with information. Alison's movements after leaving the cafe are vague. Her car with her wallet and asthma spray inside was found at the Cessnock Ex-Services Club, and it's known she was at McDonald's at 9:30. After leaving McDonald's, it's believed Alison may have come back to Vincent Street. People have told police they saw her between 9:30 and 11 that night. It's this time period which police say is crucial to their investigation. For Alison's family, it's been a traumatic week. Yesterday's discovery confirming their worst fears.
Yeah, we've done all we can, but yeah, we'll try and come to grips with it now.
Alison was to have celebrated her 18th birthday in a week. Her family will always remember her as a happy girl who loved life.
Very easy to get on with, happy-go-lucky girl, cracking jokes all the time, and just loved life. At 17, she's hardly had any.
Police expect the results of the post-mortem examination sometime tomorrow. Jodie McKay, NBN News.
Saturday morning traffic in Newcastle was disrupted as a noisy procession of cars drove into town.
We finished tonight in Broke and we started at Beechworth in Victoria, so our theme was Go for Broke.
Drivers from all over Australia have been going for Broke to raise $100,000 for Camp Quality, a support program for children with cancer and their families.
And we're always needing funds to help us do that because we don't charge the children anything for our services.
As for the winner of the race, organisers say that will be Camp Quality. Jane Anderson, NBN News. This was no ordinary auction. Every dollar raised here will go to the Smith family's Christmas initiatives.
Well, we're having the auction today to lead into our appeal, which commences shortly. The Smith family is facing what we see as our busiest Christmas ever, which is a time when people are very much in need.
All the goods for sale were donated to the charity.
The goods come from all around the Newcastle and Hunter region. They're donated, and we sort out the collectible and antique items, of which we get quite a number of valuable items.
Those valuable items attracted a number of antique dealers, but they weren't bidding on their own.
There seems to be quite a few collectors here, so I'd say we're competing with them.
Bidding reached a furious pace with $138 paid for this set of antique scales, money that will all be put to good use by the Smith family.
A clean half to 1 metre swell came in from the Pacific Ocean for the finals of the week-long championships. The North Coast Point Break, which produces long winding right-hand waves, is a haven for longboard riders. And it was women first into the water this morning to contest their final. Sandy Day from the Gold Coast won the event riding waves with style and control. Sally Paxton, also of the Gold Coast, came second as she milked the small well-shaped waves. Making it a trifecta for the Gold Coasters, Colleen Dean came in third. The crowd built up during the day to watch the surfing action. Next in the water was the Legends event for surfers over 55. Dick Swanson of Newcastle drew on years of experience to take out the Australian title. Ray Glebe from Cabarita won the premier event of the titles, the 9-foot Men's Open. In the 8-foot division, Alan Atkins of Victoria was the winner, while Robbie Dean from Snapper Rocks won the over 35s and Doug Holliday of Newcastle won the over 45s. Jason Neuenhoff, NBN News.
With only 3 rounds of the competition left, riders were determined to push their machines to the limit. Sydney rider Mark Goodwin had an easy lead, but a mix-up in boys cost him dearly and allowed Nelson Bay's Shane Pearce to get in front and stay there, holding out Sydney's Todd Miller and Gosford's Darren Kavanovich. Pearce came from nowhere to win and wasn't even considered in the top 10 before the start of the race. In the unlimited class, James Carr from Foster had a tough tussle with Todd Hunter to take the checkered flag. Motoring along at 80 kilometres an hour, Chris Pearce from Salamander Bay felt every bump in the chop. The wind was dead still and the surf put on only a gentle roll as they headed up the coast. 22-year-old Tim Watkins from Manly was first onto the beach, nearly 2 minutes ahead of his nearest rival.
I like these conditions. We had a bit of a side shot with us and I was able to use that.
Second was Redhead's Peter Scott on an interceptor ski, with Matt Chalmers from Swansea just behind. Defending champ Shane Suska led for half the race, however suffered badly from fatigue and ended up finishing well back in the pack. Watkins collected a custom-made ski for his efforts. Ian Kennedy led after the first day and showed a night's rest only sharpened his eye. Michael Peters from Karua partnered Kennedy and stayed the best placed local with some textbook shots. Lurking in the background all the time though was David Snelling. A maximum field of 130 players took part, including 52 professionals, and there was good reason. $14,000 was on offer in prize money. Among the celebrities, Paul Seranen, who finished second in C grade. All the proceeds from today and last night's charity dinner go towards keeping the rescue chopper flying.